Hello everybody and a warm welcome to Apex Racing and Chill, and we are here for the season finale at Le Mans. It's the final race of the season, so why not it be Le Mans? So just like because it's Le Mans, it's going to be 60 minutes of a single race after qualifying. And no, 2 races of course, it was Le Mans, so it was only right to do an endurance 60-minute race here. So as far as the championship is concerned, it's looking strong that GT is a very good contender, but let's not rule others out as well, as RLD himself is in second place, just behind GT in P2. GT's got 945 points, but RLD has got 872, 73 points behind GT, but you never know how this could split up with points available for grab. Meanwhile, it is Numpty Ned in P3, 762 points, and Ryan Cooper, once a championship leader, now outside the top 3, 727 points for them. One Parawood with 715, 713 for Carl, only 2 points behind one Parawood there, and Carl has massively improved this season so far. With Nitu as well, he's on 7th place, 698 points, then 652 points for Smoke Dog. Then Lisandro de Silva with 643. Then comes Page in 10th place, top 10 of the championship, 612 points. Then we move over to Wolf with 538 points, with Dylan only coming in the remaining 5 rounds of the season. He still has scored over 427 points, with Monte Carlos with 13th place with 3891. Mickey, having attended the last 4 races, has got 265 points, with Kane 134 points to his name. This is the championship then, and the team's championship as it stands. It is Numpty GT squad that looks strong and absolutely strong to take the championship, but as they're over 200 points ahead of Apex Originals almost, as Numpty squad is on 1707, the Apex Originals on 1587. With Purays Racing 1370, then this is Chemistry Racing with 1365. Team Papaya on 932. Team 929 is Racing Huns, then 746 on Team Pain. And for the very first time this season, we've got a rolling start instead of a standing start. So let's have a look at this then. It is Chapman on ahead of everybody. Everybody using the same car as well. Then it's Lisandro in P2 with GT in P3 running a golden car. Well and truly looking to really do what he's done so far. But you never know though. Tables could turn around while he's in GT and P3. It is Nitu in P4 followed by Jones in P5. Numpty Ned in P6. Mickey in P7. Ryan Cooper in P8 followed by One Parawood in P9. RLD all the way down in P10, but he could catch up to the drivers at the top and he well and truly be in the championship fight with GT. He definitely stands out. He might be 73 points ahead, but the amount of points we have available, things could turn, things could change really quickly. With Page in P11, Wolf in P12. Be the final driver. Let's not waste any time and let's go racing here at Le Mans for 60 minutes of Le Mans. It's going to be now time to go racing with a rolling start. The cars go over the line. It is green flag racing here in Le Mans. Chapman leads ahead of Lisandro in P2. With GT in P3, the top 3 looks strong and okay. And already there might be a chance for Lisandro to get past Chapman. Will he be able to go for it on the inside line already into turn 1? No, he will not be doing that into lap 1. He's possibly going to take a bit of time. Nitu in P4 now with Jones in P5. Everybody's got off the line pretty nicely with Numpty now in P6. So both the Numpty squad cars are running golden liveries for a also championship in the constructors on the line as well, with Mickey in P7 followed by Ryan Cooper in P8. P9 for One Parawood just behind Ryan Cooper. Could be a move coming up as well. Meanwhile RLD in P3, P10 still should be looking for a move. There's going to be cars side by side, almost 3 wide on the straight. This could get interesting here as the driver at the top could be going the same way as well. Maybe not, while the driver at the back are going at it. Meanwhile, Zandro is almost on his way to get past Chapman. He will not be able to get past Chapman, at least right now, right there. So things are yet to look interesting. Well, we're just on lap 1 right here. It's a long lap around here as well. A 60-minute endurance race, so possibly drivers would take a lot more good care, or will they though? Because this is going to be Mickey who gets past, in fact it's Ryan Cooper who's going to get past and get overtaken by Mickey, or will he though, as Ryan's just going to try and stay ahead, and he does manage to stay ahead after overtaking and get the move done. So not really looking it to be too different, as Mickey on the mediums with Ryan on the hard tyre, while RLD starting on the soft tyre, possibly trying to make the move and make progress early on, but that's not going to be the case, at least so far. A lot of overtaking opportunities around here. Page in P12, while Wolf in P11. While we go back to the top, and it is not 1, 2, but 3, almost 4 cars up for the fight for that race lead. While our race lead, Chapman on the hard, medium for Lizandro and medium for GT as well. He looks strong enough already to take the position, and this could get interesting between Lizandro and GT, as Lizandro still stays and maintains his racing line. Is GT going to be going for it? He's right behind under the tail of Lizandro there. This could get interesting, it could get messy if they do not take good care of each other, and that's going to be similarly dealt nicely. Or will he though, as Lizandro sends it on the inside line? A move that we were watching for happens right there as he sends and gets the move, but Chapman's going to come back at him. This is going to be side by side. Chapman runs quite on the track with Lizandro going wide. That might allow GT to get past. That could get interesting. We're really early in this race, but already the action is happening, and GT is going to be side by side with Lizandro there, with medium tyre versus medium tyre. Who's going to be the better driver? Championship leader versus the driver down in the championship. Who is it going to be the better? That's better around here, as Chapman is up at the top ahead of everybody, with Lizandro just getting a better move around the outside. But he's now got a penalty. He's now got a penalty right there. That could get a bit messy with Lizandro in P2. Let's just say, indeed, Lizandro in P2, but he's got a penalty, so he might slow down with GT coming up behind him. We're watching the track, so many cars together. Numpty in P5. Meanwhile, look at this: Jones, RLD, and Ryan Cooper, all 3 cars up at the top, as Carl is just trying to stay ahead of these guys with Numpty up the road as well. These guys could end up following these, each other. We're on lap 2 now, as the second lap of this race begins. This is the season finale, and drivers might treat it like one, while Chapman is going to be a really exciting prospect to look into going into the next season of the championship. He's looked quite strong, along with Mickey as well, throughout the remaining races, so that could get interesting. Previous season it was plenty, I believe, as far as I could remember, on the championship. GT was in the contention. He's again in the contention, but so is RLD, who's in P7 at the moment, but you never know, he could catch up with these guys up at the top of it, with Jones now in P6, followed by other things, and I think this should be okay, and indeed it is recording okay, just to make sure we do not need any issues right here. So then, as it stands, hard tires for Chapman in P1, with P2 to Lizandro de Silva. Quite close action between these guys, but huge straight. So long straight, obviously no batteries, no nothing in these cars, but all to play for. Strategies and tactics do come into play, and so do the tire compounds and tire tricks then, and management when it comes to manage. Well, our hard tires versus medium tire is going to be a nice little battle as well. Oh, that's just interesting now. We're not even watching this, with Numpty and Jones and RLD almost going to collide there, as Carl is likely going to go wide, making contact with RLD, as RLD gets past him and gets the overtake done. Now One Power Wood in an interesting, nice, different livery for this week is in P8 as well, with Jones in P9, while Page in P10 and Mickey in P11, right behind Page, and Mickey might have made a mistake here, and he well and truly has made a mistake, I believe so, as is we can see on the card that it is a bit of a damage on his car. It might not be physical damage, we can at least see, depending how much performance impact it has, this could still get exciting. So I'm just trying to still keep the leaders, as Lizandro has taken the lead and has got the overtake done on Chapman once more, And again, as I said, this is a championship race and championship on the line. We should be looking at drivers at the top, as GT now could be in a bit of trouble from Nitu, who's right behind in the Red Bull Build livery. The Team Papaya driver, while Nimti now Chapman might try and come back at Lisandro, and he does get back past Lisandro as Chapman takes the lead once again, and taking a Le Mans win could be a really good honour for any of these drivers to take. Meanwhile, Nitu is going to go for it, or is he though? Well, it won't be a lot of straights, pretty much huge straights around here, so it's almost like if you've got better straight line speed than the other driver, you'd be faster. Also, short corners do affect, but I think straight line. So if you've got a different setup, let's say if you've got an altered setup that's going to give you better straight line speed than the other car in front, you could possibly have a better chance than the guys behind, or at least the drivers in front, the driver in front of you. So definitely you've got the opportunity, and then you've also got a bit of strategic things to do as well. Meanwhile, now to once again, and this time it looks like Lisandro has moved away as we move over to lap 3 right here. Nito in P4 with Nimtined in P5 there, followed by Ryan Cooper in P6. Then comes One Perwood in P7, and RLD having started on the soft tyre has decided to come into the pits, and that was going to be the case starting on the soft tyre. Those soft tyres were not going to last you, and so as Carl came into the pits as well on the medium tyre, but Carl I think might have made a mistake, as in the overlay we could see the left front tyre and the front bumper is flashing red. That means a bit of damage to their car could be the case right there. Well, Lisandro's got a penalty, so you need to slow down in the next penalty zone area with Nitu and GT quite close to each other now. Numtinet following up from behind as well. Ryan Cooper in P6 at the moment. Is he getting overtaken by one of the cars? Well, no, in fact he's not. It was a nice little camera angle which you were watching their cars get past around there, with One Perwood in P7 now, followed by Page in P8. Then comes Mickey, who's got a penalty as well. He'll need to slow down in the next penalty zone area. Wolf RLD in P11, so a lot of drivers getting those penalties then. Obviously it's only 5/10s, as Lisandro will now get a move to try and get past Chapman there before they can move over to the left hand corner. Who's going to be the driver bravest and quickest into the corner? And it'll be Lisandro as he gets past Chapman there, and then a brilliant move on the inside. Gets the move done in a race. It's pretty much, we're watching these drivers follow each other, and obviously a long 60-minute race. We're nearly just into 8 minutes now into it, so a lot will be taken into consideration, but definitely Lisandro said, let's forget about that, and I want to get past you. Obviously, I'd assume, considering considering it's out and about, 5/10 separating the two drivers, with Chapman in P2 as GT has been in P3, followed by Nitu in P4. Now once again, I think it's interesting so far, and it's a different field of cars and set of cars as well. So let's say Lisandro leads ahead of Chapman, so Lisandro will be slowing down at the next penalty zone area, and he will serve his 5/10 penalty. But look at that, Lisandro is going quick, as Chapman currently has the fastest lap, but Lisandro is going very quick. But I definitely believe that when Lisandro slows down, an easy move will be coming up for Chapman, or maybe he doesn't even need to wait for that, or he might have to, as Lisandro slowed down and Chapman swooped past Lisandro there, and the overtake is once again done, and another move and another switch for the race lead, ladies and gentlemen. So it's on right now, right here. He gets it done. But what about the drivers at the very back? Well, GT and Nitu are going at it as well, so these guys could be at it, and Lisandro now is pulling away, so he's definitely making the most of his tyres. And has somebody made a mistake, as Nitu in P3, there was green flags waving, so maybe yellow had came out and the green flag again came out, but you never know. But Chapman's went off. Chapman has went off there. We had no idea what went wrong, and we're just wondering about that. And it is Chapman, ladies and gentlemen. And Dylan Chapman has went off and lost this one from P2 on the grid to P6 right now. unsure about whether the driver's going side by side with each other or he's lost it on his own. Regardless of that, he is now down in P6, and the recovery will need to be a lot better. Recovery will need to be very good, and after starting in P1, he looked strong, he looked okay to go. Nobody catching him up apart from Lisandro de Silva, who was possibly giving him a little bit of a harder time, but he's now finding himself in P5. MT in P4 with Nito in P3 now, GT in P2. That could easily allow Lisandro to either pull away on the medium tyre or GT to catch up with all the top 4 drivers in 5 up until just before Chapman. Everybody is on those medium tyres, which is a tyre pretty much most of the drivers have went for, apart from let's say the likes of RLD, who started on the softer tyre, while the top 3 now stronger than ever, and GT now possibly Chapman, let's say the strongest contender out of the line. He could have a little bit of confidence to try and go for a move. Is GT going for it right here? No, he's not. Right, obviously, the championship on the line, and if he does not finish this race, it could get messy for others catching up, and he might have a 73-point lead, but as I said, with points up for grabs, it could get, let's say, messy, and you don't want to ruin it, especially after you've done so many minutes, so many hours racing around, preparing for the championship, and Le Mans, a different track. We did not race here last season, so racing here for the first time in the new season, it's definitely going to be and be at the final race of the season as well. So with the championship on the line, you've got to prepare even better considering like that. But now he might be getting a little bit impatient. Rather, his speed might be making him get impatient there as he's moving left and right. GT and would be looking for any opportunity right now to get past Lisandro and get the move done, get that race lead that would make him be a very good driver, or at least increase his chances of that championship win. And while Carl split it pretty early, the medium tyres are at least decently lasting these guys, and if these guys are able to go about 20 minutes in these tyres, that could get interesting. We'll find out though on what we have to do, but it would be interesting to get on what we have to do. And what we will be getting as GT now slightly losing time to Lisandro there. I would have thought maybe he's going to catch up, but he's slightly losing that time, and his tyres were sliding. So as I said, I think probably really early now in this race, just 14 minutes in, so it's not a lot. It's not like it's only a few minutes remaining in this race. There's a lot remaining, and with the championship on the line, I think GT's going to take it as slow as he can. Chapman's P6, Parwood in P7, Page in P8, followed by RLD, Mickey in P9, RLD down in P10, with Wolf in P10, P11, and Jones in P12. Wolf might have pitted, as he's got the hard tyres, so has RLD, who's got mediums, with the Mickey, who's got hard tyres, along with Page. Then one Parwood has got the mediums, then again comes Chapman on the hard, then it is Ryan Cooper, Numpty-Ned, Nitu, GT and Lisandro, all these drivers on the set of medium compound tyres, and I feel like possibly, sure, they've got a lot of fuel as well, so considering they will need to make it a nice one as well, so a different races throughout the season. Here at Le Mans, everybody having the same car, and it was at Spa as well, a different car from usually what these guys are able to drive or what they drove all season long. So interesting opportunities, and definitely a thing to prove, and one that catches everybody off guard. Let's say somebody could be a master in some of the cars that they drive all season long, but if they do not drive these cars, and that could get a bit not messy, but certainly in an uncertainty, it could get yourself into and what they want, obviously 7 gears, so this car possibly has more gears than what these guys are used to, usually running with 6 gears in their cars and GR2 and GR3 group cars, but this car having a little bit extra gear. But I think it's now only time half the tyre wear is gone on their tyres. But it's interesting because not many drivers chose the hard tyre. Sure, they did choose, but especially the top. The drivers in the top 5 or top 6, let's say, only it was Chapman who chose the hard tyre, nobody else did. And now GT is ever closer to Alessandro now. He would be able to get past him. Or really though, because it's only a time whether he gets the attempt or not, as he's right behind him. And yeah, look at that, he's not leaving behind, he's not trying to break the toe, he's still staying in the slipstream, he's staying in the toe till the very last moment to give himself the best chance of following him. While Alessandro runs a little bit wide. Ooh, GT nearly follows him. I was about to say GT might get past on the exit there, but he almost followed him, which could get a bit messy for moving forward. But how about this, as we will now look at this from the rear wing of D2 with rear wing of Alessandro. How good is GT going to be, as now he's ever closer once again, getting closer and closer, but no chance for him to be making the move, as he could be going to move around, look at the track and drivers. But also talking about looking at the livery, the likes of GT and Numty, a golden livery, look at that. There's not extra sun out here, but especially for the one behind GT, they could get caught you off guard, because that golden livery, especially in a chrome type or goldish, where it has a lot of reflection. This one actually isn't like too glossy, it's slightly matte. I've seen worse than these in terms of the sun, because if the sun is going into the car, it's going to be really reflective. So especially if you're a car behind, it's another tactic to throw you off. It's a case of just trying to trick them as much as you can. While drivers now, Numty in P4, while Ryan Cooper has been caught up by, let's say, by Chapman right there. And once again, we may have to verify we are just recording, and we indeed are, and I hope that there will be no problem in this one right there. While we're 18 minutes in this race now, Chapman is getting closer and closer to Ryan Cooper there. Well, so is Need2 getting closer to GT, but he hasn't went for a move. And Ryan Cooper and Alessandro, the two teammates, giving a hard time to Chapman then right here in this race. While Chapman has now pretty much used slightly less than half of his hard compound tires, so possibly another, let's say, a few more laps. But Chapman now is going closer to Ryan Cooper there, and that would make it interesting now, because we might see a move that we haven't seen, an overtake which we have been looking for, or at least looking to make or have a look at within many laps. And Chapman's going to move to the side. Ryan Cooper is going to have to defend. This is going to be side by side. Which driver has better straight line speed? Who's going to be the driver that brakes bravest and is going to be the brave on the brakes? Is it going to be Chapman? It might be Ryan Cooper, as having his car around the outside. He still gets the move up and still stay ahead of Chapman there. They were side by side, but he just makes it and stays ahead of Ryan Cooper, of Chapman there. But Chapman's going to come back at him once more. He's going to have the outside line now, which is going to become the inside into the next corner. Will Chapman be brave once more? And he might have to be, or he's going to make another mistake. He's narrowly going to lose his car, but he gets it back in control, and he ran himself wide. And this time, in trying to be a little bit brave, loses his car. And as good as Chapman has looked in the start of the season so far, it might not be a race that he would rather be, looking to forget. Maybe still a lot remaining though. I mean, we're really halfway, not even halfway yet, 20 minutes in a 60-minute race, so still 10 minutes before we could even get past the halfway mark. But Chapman once again falling to the bravery, falling to the outbraking himself. And that's going to make him lose a lot of time in this one right there. While Mickey at the very back is going to be on his way to get past Wolf, who is just going to stay there as Chapman gets the move done. Sorry, not Chapman, but Mickey gets the move. He's down in P10 and 11, so he's been in bottom positions but it looks like he's pitted again as he's on brand new medium tyres. By the thing we could judge off, RLD in P9 there, with Page in P8, followed by one Parawood in P7. The nice reflective liveries everybody's using this week, with Chapman in P6, followed by Ryan Cooper in P5. Then comes Numpty Ned in P4. GT now has came into the pits, with Lisandro still running strong and up top, just ahead of Nitu, who might get closer to him though. But GT now is into the pits, and so is Numpty Ned. Both Numpty Scott teammates into the pit lane now. So they're in, they're going to make sure they get the job done here. Same goes for one Parawood as well, so possibly they're going to get a bit of fuel as well. 20 minutes they've made these tyres last, so 12 is going to be 40, so possibly we might have about 18 to 19 laps in this race, considering 20 minutes could get 6 laps in, so 40 minutes should get 12 laps, and then it would be about, let's say, 20 more minutes remaining, 6 another lap, so possibly 17, 18 laps here around Le Mans 24-hour circuits. And it's the configuration of these cars, and it is one Parawood. He's just coming out of the pits, and he's coming out on a set of soft tyres, so that is an interesting choice, but probably he just wants to make a couple of moves, let's say. So that would probably be the only opportunity. And Page, the only driver from Team Payne that has reigned throughout the whole season. Kane missing out again, but last week Kane was rapid in Abu Dhabi, and it was a brilliant race, surely for the race of the season last time out. And RLD is going to switch his car to the outside of Page, and they're going to be side by side. They're still going to be running side by side, not anymore though, as RLD gets past him, and Page might be coming back at him once again. This could get exciting between the two drivers. We saw one of the drivers trying to be bravest, and so you have to be absolutely clinical and absolutely manage and really be on the perfection of braking and acceleration. If you are not, you're going to lose this car, and that would be pretty not good for you to have a chance, or rather you want to lose the car, you want to keep the car in the place you are. Nitu now has taken the lead by Real Focus at the back. Nitu has gone past Lisandro de Silva, with Ryan Cooper in P3, Chapman in P4, and GT now with brand new tyres on his car is in P5. So that could easily allow now GT to get past me. Nitu is doing a brilliant race right here. Last endurance race at Spa, Nitu had a race to forget, so possibly maybe a final race of the season he has, or gets the job done at least. He gets the things to work and make it nice and easy. Well, now these top two are on their own pretty much. Nitu has actually slightly gained on let's say Lisandro de Silva, while these guys up at the back are going to be in a fight of their own, with RLD in P6, Numpty Ned in P7, and Page in P8. A 3-car fight at the back of the grid, and that would give us another bit of action on the track that we are looking for. These guys are going to be 3 wide, with Page right behind, and Numpty swoops past RLD there on brand new hard tyres as compared to all the mediums on RLD's car, with the same goes for Page as well on old hard tyres, while those mediums are going to be new, might feel better, but that doesn't mean RLD can't come back, or so can't Page. It would be interesting to make it now with RLD, Nitu and Lisandro into the pits. RLD is going to try and get a move around the outside of Nitu. They're going to be side by side. He switches to the side now. It's a lot of a straight line battle as well, but it's going to be RLD who gets past Numpty, as Numpty now as a penalty. Numpty has a penalty as well, as that could make things interesting right here, as Numpty's got a penalty now, with Page in P8, followed by one Parawood now getting closer to Page as well, as Page is on old tyres, one Parawood on brand new mediums that could allow him to go for it on the inside, as he narrowly avoids making huge contact that could have made it by Messi. Eddie being a little bit too impatient, as Ryan Cooper is now into the pits, and RLD I believe is made into the pits as well, maybe, or no, in fact he is not. while cars in front of him slightly disappeared as Sandro on new tyres in P4 behind Nito, so Nito getting past him has really made it brilliant, while Chapman on his older hard tyres, having started on those hards, he's going to continue and keep it ahead of everybody then. And this would be a case of now who takes the. I mean, as simply it is. We're getting moves and we're expecting moves, but in a 60-minute race, you don't really expect that. You rather expect drivers to endorse through the race, and that's it's an endurance race for a reason. So those not going for overtakes are possibly doing more better than harm to against those who are going for overtakes. Obviously, I'm not saying going for overtakes is a bad thing. Obviously, if you are going for them, that's a brilliant thing as well, but it's just nice, it's just the case of making you feel better or getting yourself in a bit of a better position than the others. Well, Chapman is quite a few seconds ahead of GT now in P1, and Chapman on those hard tyres really making sure he goes halfway through this race on these tyres, so possibly 2-stop in a 60-minute race. Doing a 1-stop would really be unlikely, but you never know. While GT, by the looks of it, has got fuel, but not all of it, despite going on a set of hards. But I think he might not need to pit anymore, though, because with 27 minutes, almost 28 minutes now in the race, so pretty much we'll need halfway of this race to go, which would make it interesting and about what we have to do, rather. Let's say need to now in P3. Sandro in P4, and now look at this. Once again, the fight we might have not been looking for is on, as RLD and Ryan Cooper are going to be side by side. Ryan more than ever excited to get past RLD there, and will Ryan get past RLD? Yes, he will, with a penalty to RLD. Meanwhile, Numpty Ned might have a move on RLD at the back as well. Numpty nearly done for it on the inside. Well, both the drivers have got 5 tenths in penalties. Numpty's going to go for it around the outside, but RLD is just going to be able to defend. He gets the move. Nicely done, with one pair of wood now right behind Numpty as well. So this is exciting. While we were looking for action at the top, we might be looking at this action right here on lap 8 and minute 20, almost 29, nearly halfway distance in this race. Numpty Ned and one pair of wood are going side by side, so surely one pair of wood is going to give the challenge to everybody, but he's on the soft tyres, so possibly I think the only thing I could think of he's meant for a soft tyre here is because possibly he could get these tyres probably, let's say, for like 7 minutes more, and then he could pit for a hard tyre to end the race on that and go to the end. So, and definitely, as I said, doing a 2-stop around here would be quite tricky 1-stop. So, and Chapman is now in the pits. In fact, it's RLD, it's not Chapman. Chapman's still staying out, and surely he wants to go more than 30 minutes in this one now. Possibly, but I think maybe he just thinks that his tires are still good enough. And also looking at the gap, the gap is quite low between him and GT, so he's not. It's not that he's in a lot of pressure. So possibly just make that work. Whatever works the best for him right there, which would quite make it exciting. And also, I think now with just half an hour remaining in this race, half an hour to go on, and the second half is remaining. And as I said, those soft tyres could be getting now in trouble for one pair of wood. It's like went a little bit wide, and just might, I say, you would be getting closer to one pair of wood to Page there, or is he though? Maybe not, because one pair of wood is now looking to get closer to Numpty Ned there, and he was going to be going side by side. He's got 5 tenths in penalties for running wide earlier, but that doesn't matter around here, as he's going to stick his car around the outside, and he will get the move done around the outside. So it's 10 to inside onto the next corner, and the move is done. And surely he's gonna make the most of those soft tires, and he simply does know that he needs to make the most of these soft tires. So he's gonna try and get the job done. Well, now we're going back to the grid. Mickey in P11, RLD in P10, Jones in P9. we're back to our field we were looking for. Numpty in P6, one for Numpty in P7, one for in P6 with Ryan Cooper in P5, Lysandro in P4, Nito in P3. GT is in P2 because Chapman is not yet pitted, and I believe he's slightly on the mini map. You could see on the track map that maybe Chapman just maybe a slightly lost time to GT now. So yep, he's 2 seconds over, 2 seconds down, almost 3 seconds on his time for that sector. So possibly we could be seeing up a pit stop now from him. You know, he's gone halfway through, so either he simply wants to stay out long on the hard tire, or maybe, let's say maybe he wants to make a one stop for it, which would not be a bad idea, but let's say would be an interesting thing to, you know, as I said, have a look on. So it'll be all to watch out for us as Numpty slightly goes wide. And again, I feel like, you know, we're just entering into the second half of this race. Everybody is turning into this, and as it is, Dylan Chapman is now going to come into the pits, and now you can see more than the tires, he might have been wanting to make the most of that fuel that he had in his car, you know, and now making the most of the tires and off the fuel, despite making mistakes early on in this race. I'm sure he's done the job, and he's done quite well to try and recover. It all depends on what tire he's going to go, but then it's going to be GT who gets past and should be getting past Chapman there, and he will get past. Chapman is now into the pit box, so he might lose a couple of positions there then, as GT now leads this race. He'll be feeling very relaxed as he takes the lead of this race now with his championship on the line. I'm sure he's gonna, you know, everybody else has got to probably get through this race. GT, one, he has got to this race, has to get through this race, and two is he needs to make sure that he comes out on top, and top as a champion, because otherwise it could get quite tricky. Let's say for him, with one par of wood, has came into the pits on the sort of soft tires, and I think now he should be going to a set of hard, and we should see him go to the end of this race. That's what I believe. So at least, you know, with things remaining in this race now, so Page in P7, Numpty still ahead of him, with Chapman now in P5, with on the medium tires, then with Ryan Cooper in P4 in the hards, Lysandro on the hards in P3, Nito on the hards in P2. GT has pulled quite a bit. Then look at that, the gap between P1 and P2. That is quite a lot. Nobody can be seen from behind GT's car, so he's looking stronger than ever to not only win this race, but also win the championship title. What he missed out on last season could well happen this season, but we never know though, because you never know what we are about to get ourselves into. I'm just trying to make sure who are these guys in between, because now Lysandro and Nito slightly closer to each other, Ryan Cooper behind these guys, well, Chapman and Numpty Ned on the hards, slightly along with Page. Could be getting closer, these guys could be catching up to Chapman, who has made a couple of mistakes earlier on in this race, so he might be in a bit of pressure, possibly. That's what I believe. You know, he could technically be in a bit of a pressure because you know, he's made mistakes. I think he's now going to be chill. Definitely, I feel like, you know, one, he's going to have that pressure from previous mistakes, but he did many laps on that old hard tire, and possibly without losing much time. That's only going to give him confidence. You know, that would have only made his thing and made his race overall better. So that would surely pretty much be a mix of things of either it's going to give him a chance or it's not going to give him a chance, let's say. So it would be interesting as Biz Wolf, and he's running at par, let the cars behind past him, but he's run absolutely wide, and I'm not sure what he's going to do. He's going to come back on off the runoff area, but that could get interesting as he's going to let others pass. Blue flags. Page nearly goes into the back of Wolf there, as Wolf has to get back off and comes back on the track. And Page actually as pretty much is now his hard tires going as well. I'm unsure if Page is pitted in this race or not, but interestingly now again, you know, Page's tires are gone, and so is his fuel. So pretty much he should be coming into the pits now, because, you know, usually drivers, you know, if their fuel gauge is, you know, blinking and slightly, you know, still there's a bit remaining on that gauge, that's okay. Let's still stay up for the lap. But here around Le Mans, with a lap of almost a minute or two, over 3 minutes on a lap here, they do not want to risk that being stranded in the middle of the track, and no way to go left or right. Might as well make the most of it. Now once again, going back to the top, GT leads ahead of E2 and P2 with Lisandro in P3, and not much of a gap separating these two guys. Ryan Cooper in P4, Chapman in P5, and Numpty in P6. Page is in the pits with RLT in P8. Then comes Carl, who is in P9. And Carl comes into the pits as well, but one Pervert stays out. He's going to gain a place, and Mickey is now getting close as well. So that could now get exciting. While Nitu has already been overtaken by Lisandro there, or has he though? Because this is now getting exciting. Both of these drivers are going to be challenging each other, and already has Lisandro overtaken Nitu for P2. Oh, that's interesting, Nitu for P2, and yes, he has. So the overtake, and that second place up for grabs. Lisandro, you know, he had a brilliant end to the previous season's race, where he came as a brand new driver, looking for a team for this season. Certainly he had his ups and downs throughout the season, but he has done it. He's doing an excellent job, at least so far to say, in this race, and making the most of his opportunity, currently running in second place. And remaining time in the race, he could be neck and neck with whether these guys are going to be able to make it to the end of this race on these tires or not, but it'll be interesting. But you never know though now, considering E2 and P3, but could possibly get closer to, let's say, to Lisandro as well. You know, Ryan Cooper in P4, slightly would be in a bit of pressure from Chapman, who is catching up to him on the medium tire. And Chapman, if he manages to work a one-stop work in this race, in a race where many drivers pitted multiple times, making a hard medium strategy work in a 60-minute Le Mans race would be a class of its own. And I think he would get a brilliant boost, you know, especially him having arrived, you know, probably less than half, probably more than half the season was over when he came in, but still had to, you know, now still doing a lot, trying to do a lot, would make it interesting, or at least, let's say, you know, would make things interesting in a way that it's a case of what you can do and what you are actually going to be doing in the remaining moments and laps of this race. And a lot still remains though, you know, it's an endurance, and it's an endurance for a reason. We're almost 40 minutes in this race now, and still over 20 minutes remain, and GT so far looks strongest of them all at the top so far, leads by many seconds, with Lisandro in P2 now. Ryan Cooper getting caught up by Chapman, Numpty in P6, Zuraldi in P7, Umparwood in P8 on his own, Mickey and Page in P9 and 10, with Carl in P11, followed by Wolf in P12. So yeah, pretty much everybody is in a race of their own, with the drivers going for moves when they get caught up by. And right here, right now, Ryan Cooper is about to get overtaken and has been caught by Chapman, who was after him for many laps, and he's going to get past him now on lap 12. Will get the move done, Will Chapman, or Ryan Cooper might come back at him though, because Ryan's going to stay his car around the outside, as that is going to be interesting now. Sure, these guys, you know, with a lot of straights available, it's like these guys don't have to ruin their tyres, but still go for moves. Considering in a race where we have not seen many overtakes around, this is a time Chapman gets past Ryan Cooper on his medium tyres. Chapman, remember, ran for over 30 minutes, half the race, on the same compounded tyre, as Chapman's medium tyres look better than Ryan Cooper's hard tyres at this point. So that could be an interesting, let's say, you'd have to say, you know, a nice little sign. He's looking strong, pretty much he's on his own, but let's see how good of a thing that will be, because you never know though, these guys, you know, interestingly, on their own. But I think now, unless Chapman makes a mistake or Ryan has some extraordinary speed, Chapman might pull away though, because he's on medium tyres. Obviously, in an endurance race, I think short tyres make the difference, but not a lot of it. So it all depends how you go, and especially in these races, I'd say these are more hard because the amount of time you have, you'd say, okay, there's a long time remaining, and just because of that, there's a huge risk and problem that you might end up losing a bit of focus, which makes you lose a bit of time, which otherwise you wouldn't have, because you'd be more focused, considering, you know, there's not a lot remaining in the one. But now, only about 18 minutes remaining in this race right here. So these guys would try and make the most of it, try and make to do rather what they are about to, or at least supposed to do, you know, in these remaining moments. Right there, with position up for grabs, but I think now, as I've been saying, you know, endurance, whoever endures best to the end of this race will be really taking their positions, while we talk about Gran Cooper losing out to Chapman. Chapman slightly ran a little bit wide, but a bit of a moment there from Gran Cooper as well, tyres sliding. Meanwhile, our race leader, GT, who is now ahead of everybody, but he's got no fuel. GT has got no fuel as compared to everybody else, with Chapman having more than half a tank, with pretty much everybody. Ryan Cooper has half a tank as well. GT is going to pit right now on lap 12 in minute 43 of this race for fuel. Might as well get new tyres now. He's got half of it remaining on his tyres, and now Lisandro should be taking the lead. Will he though, because this could get exciting for depending on how much time does GT stay in the pit box. GT gets past him. Nitu might get past as well. Nitu's got a penalty. He's going to have to slow down in the next penalty zone area, and GT will as well. Now Chapman will as well. Nitu, Lisandro, and Chapman all in the P3. Ryan Cooper gets past as well, as GT is now getting his tyres in. And now, only now, fuel is in, and GT pitting from the lead of this race. Sure, he had quite a big gap, but this could now get exciting in this remaining 16 minutes of this race, with all on the line, as much as a championship on the line. But still, considering now, this could get exciting. RLD and GT, a lot of a gap, but GT in P6 and RLD in P7, remember. RLD had to do all sorts of things, or everything, and take every point available in this race to have himself a chance of the championship win. With only a position separating these two, the two championship rivals, it could get exciting come the end of this race, but I think RLD is going to have to do a lot of work, while Chapman has made it to P3, might be on his way to make it a P2 now, with P2 in P2 ahead of him, not far, much of a gap separating these two. So Chapman, despite having mistakes, not once but twice, losing a bit of positions trying to fight cars, has caught back up and has really fought back up to the top of this race and top of the timings right now, which could get quite exciting, in all sorts of this race, as Chapman is again gaining on Nitu right here, as he's ever closer. He got past Ryan Cooper earlier. He's on his way to get past Nitu now. Is he going to switch? Yes, he will be switching up to the outside of Nitu there, and he will get past Nitu. Chapman, who lost the lead very early in this race, is going to get back to P2, running hard the whole race on a set of hard tyres, and has run over 15 minutes pretty much the 12 to 13 minutes on these mediums as well, and might be running the remaining 14 minutes as well on the same tire, and making a one-stop work in a race where nobody else was able to do. This is about to get next level stuff here. With GT now in P6, RLD in P7, One Parawood in P8 with Page in P9, Mickey in P10, Jones in P11. So Mickey and Jones in a fight of their own, it looks like. That is interesting as well, you know, Mickey and Jones in a fight of their own right here. With Wolf in P12, followed by Lisandro in the lead. Lisandro is leading, not to forget, for Perez Racing. He leads this race now with Chapman in P2, who's gained up quite a lot on Nitu. So that is interesting, as we're going to stay to our leader for now, as with every minute passing, every second passing, and every corner, we're getting closer to the end of this endurance race, to the end of this brilliant, you know, a race that everybody had to, you know, get through. And on a track like Le Mans, if you get it right and take a win or get a victory or even finish in the top 3, you'd be remembered for a while. And certainly Lisandro, who might have been from quite a while in terms of podiums and top 3 finishes, is looking quite strong for this victory here in Le Mans. But this could get exciting in the ending moments and minutes of this race, because Chapman is catching up and he's not far away. He's caught up a couple of drivers. He's gone past Ryan Cooper, he's gone past Nitu, and is currently in P2. He could catch up to Lisandro, and when he does, that would be quite exciting to watch, because a battle for the lead in the remaining laps and at the very end of this race, in a race where you'd expect not many drivers fighting close, or pretty much, you know, drivers racing on their own. This would get exciting, and it certainly is going to be getting exciting right here. Well, RLD comes into the pits. RLD makes so many pit stops then. Drivers pretty much, I think a lot, especially in these races, tires are one thing, but fuel is quite a lot. Fuel is also a thing as well. You know, you have to maintain and manage as well, considering, you know, like when you pit, how much you have to use. When you are, you know, making a pit stop, how much you think you'll be making the most, or how much you'll be using to really not lose it, or to not really, you know, get it off the area of what you want. And it's about what we're going to be getting, and what you are going to be getting out there. It's now 48.50 seconds, 49 minutes in, so just now about 11 minutes remaining in this one, with Lisandro in P1, Chapman in P2 is getting closer and closer to Lisandro. But it's going to be interesting it's going to be nice to watch and to see whether our 9 minutes or 10 minutes in the remaining are going to be enough for him to catch up to Lisandro. I think there might be more than enough, considering Lisandro is now in the sight of Chapman there. With Ryan Cooper is in P3, and by the looks of it, he's gone past Nitu, who might have made a mistake or run a little bit wide, while at the back GT is made up ahead of his teammate in P5 now. With Numpty in P6, One Parawood in P7, Page in P8, with Mickey and Carl fighting each other. Could get interesting for P9, these guys are, but Carl might be going up for a move right here, which could get exciting. They've got 5 tenths in penalties to serve, but they're going to worry about that later. Maybe worry about getting past Mickey right here. Will they be able to do it? Yes, they're going to switch to the inside, to the side, and get past Mickey already without even worrying about it. They get past and get the move done into P9. And Jones are on it. Jones is on it now. Carlin's went wide. Carlin's went wide. Right, you talk about commentators curse. You might be thinking it only affects at the top. It might do at the back as well. We were just casually saying that Carl's gone past Mickey, and he goes straight past the track onto the gravel trap there. That is interesting to see. You know, surely wouldn't have expected that. While now Chapman once again getting closer and closer to Lisandro there, with another lap passing by, lap 15 that should be, and as I said, it will do about 16 laps or 17 laps to the end. We've gone to lap 15 now, so at the end of this race, drivers should have, I think it would still be 17 laps, because at the end of this lap, we'll have lap 16 if drivers are just able to complete that in remaining time. Then it would possibly, and then then it would be the final 5 laps, which is remaining. They need to get over the line. They need to score points, as GT now will get past Nitu and will get the overtake right there as GT is on and ahead of Nitu. There might be a chance for Nitu to come back. He might have a go at him though, but not this time. And also around here, that's the thing as well. Like, if you get overtaken by a driver, there isn't much you can do to try and come back unless you're still side by side and you've got the pace and speed to catch up to them. There's not a lot you can do, but one man who needs to do a lot, in fact 2 drivers who both need to do a lot, Lisandro to keep his position, Chapman to try and get closer. We went from nighttime to daytime, or at least from cloudy weather to sunny weather right here in this race. And I know both of these drivers are going to be counting and hoping they could finish. Lisandro is going to hope he could win this race, and Chapman's going to hope he can overtake Lisandro there. With Ryan Cooper running on his own in P3, with DT ahead of Nitu as well. He got the overtake done, and Numchi Ned in P6 with one Pro in P7. Page doing a brilliant job as well in P8, with Mickey in P9, RLD in P10, with Carl in P11, just ahead of Wolf. He was in P12. Wolf has been pretty much on his own, I think, exactly as I said. We're watching just this one, and has he lost out though? And by the looks of it, Lisandro might have gained a bit of time on Chapman, because by the looks of it, Chapman's now nowhere to be seen or closer to in the rear view mirrors of Lisandro, because by the looks of it, Chapman has lost out once again. And yep, he has lost out. We can see in the bottom there that his front bumper and left front tire, he's made a mistake. So maybe driver for Pures Racing could be in all of that, while Chapman's into the pits again, maybe to get another tire now before the end of this race. And pretty much he's got enough fuel, so I believe he's just going to come in and get himself another tire. But that could get exciting now at the end, as Ryan Cooper in P2, and that would be an absolute excellent result here at this point, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to watch out for though, because GT's in P3 and Ryan Cooper's not really got tyres in best conditions, but it could possibly be a Pures Racing 1-2, and GT's got a 5-10 to penalties, so he's going to have to slow down. And that could get exciting then in these remaining laps and minutes and moments right there, with GT in P7, with sorry, not in P7, in P3 GT, just right behind Ryan Cooper now. And despite his penalty to slow down at the penalty zone area, he's not yet going to do that, and he's going to try and get past Ryan Cooper there. He's going to make sure to get the overtake on Ryan, and he will get the overtake on Ryan, or does he though, because they're almost still side by side, and GT's now whole car length ahead of Ryan Cooper and gets into P2, and his championship hopes were alive coming into this race, and they're only going to get better now, with only 4 minutes remaining in this race before we are at the end of it. Before we are at the end of the remaining moments of this race here at Le Mans, round 12 out of 12 of this championship, as that is all it comes down to this, with drivers having to work out for, and rather doing the job they will be doing. I think you might think their job is done, but still not, with about 3.5 minutes still remaining. And remember, GT's going to have to slow down in the next penalty serving area, so that might, it's not a lot though, I don't think it's going to be Lisandro's going to be able to get past him. Sorry, Ryan Cooper's going to be able to get past him in rapidly, but possibly, just possibly, he could simply just get closer to him though. Maybe he can't get past, but he can surely get closer there, which would allow him to, be in a chance with an easy finish or an easy chance to at least get closer. Maybe, just maybe, you'd think so, but could be the hopes. But I think Ryan's tyres are quite done now, just like his teammate. But I think Sandro is at least up the road, and enough up the road that he could finish as a winner. Sure, definitely. If there was, let's say, another 2 laps here from here, pretty much. This one's lap 16, and I'd assume that the one after this is going to be the final lap. I'd believe so. Lap 17 will be the final, or maybe lap 18 will be the final one. But it could be from there. RLD's got the fastest lap right now in this race. He's on medium tyres, which are quite brand new, while Carl is in P11, Mickey in P9, with just behind Paige, who is in P8, with Montparnasse in P7, followed by Numtinet in P6, and Chapman, after making a mistake, went into the pits and fit up that soft tyre on his car, and Need2 is going to go wide and almost going to lose his car, and does lose his car on the exit there. Those hard tyres are done, and he had no grip to get through the corner smoothly as he hits the wall, and Chapman might be getting closer to Need2 now, and that could get exciting. And Chapman, after all those moments and problems in this race, still just might be able to finish in the top 4 there in here. While Ryan Cooper is going to try and catch up to GT, but still, not a lot remaining, as Lisandro has managed to get to lap 17 of this race. But before the end of this lap, I think it is going to be already 60 minutes past right here. But one man who's going to be really feeling happy, looks okay to win the championship. But right here, I think it's going to be a bigger one to look at. It's Lisandro, who struggled. I wouldn't say struggled, but still, tried to fight for positions and podiums, but getting up a victory, and be it in an endurance race at Le Mans, he's going to surely cheer this one and enjoy this one quite a lot than he might have done so in the remaining races of the season. He might be feeling the best of them all, as now only 40 seconds remain before we would see final lap on this race, unless they want they will give them another lap. But possibly Lisandro might run out of fuel here. This could get exciting. He surely has a little bit of fuel, but it's a question of whether he'll be able to get past quite easy or not, while Ryan Cooper's closer, but I don't think he's closer enough. Right there, well, GT's got a bit more fuel, while both Tourist Racing drivers have got their fuel gauge flashing. Still, I think it might be just more than enough for them, and Chapman is already past Need2, and P4 finish, despite so many mistakes and problems throughout this race. He's going to tear that up, and Lisandro in P1 there, with GT in P2, looking set for a championship victory. What he missed out on last season will be coming up this season for it. While our race leader is also not far away from GT now, but I feel like it's simply just because it's a final lap of this race. It would be the case of these guys making it quite easy. And actually, I'm just thinking about this, with how long of a lap this is, we might have to move forward, trying to wait for everybody to take the checkered flag. There might be a couple of extra minutes then in these remaining moments, with these races. So that would pretty much be exciting, right here. So let's say it's all about what we're going to be getting in front of our screens, and I think we're just watching on our leader to finish in P1. While still a double Tourist Racing podium, still going to be a brilliant finish, whether it be up a 1-2 or not. GT running in P2, I think he won't be concerned about a victory here, as long as he gets the championship, which he is about to get as he comes over the line with his nearest championship rival, RLD, nowhere near the top, down in P11, while Wolf Club's taking the checkered flag. in P12, and it is going to be Lisandro who's going to come around the final couple of corners to go over the line and take the checkered flag. And Lisandro wins in Le Mans with GT right behind, finishes in P2 and wins the championship this season. And ladies and gentlemen, GT, who missed out on the championship last season, is going to be your drivers' championship this season, and gets it done with Ryan Cooper is going to finish P3 in front of our hands. Ryan Cooper in P3 with that Chapman in P4. Despite having problems, he manages to finish that. With Jump Numpty Ned and Nitu pretty close to each other, but this could get exciting as well with Numpty Ned in P5, with Nitu in P6, one Pervert in P7, with Page in P8, with Mickey in P9. With Carl in P10, followed by RLD in P11, with Wolf, who's managed to finish in P12. Alright then, so we're going to have a look at this and have a look at the final championship standings after the end of this race. First, let's have a look at the team standings. It was the team of Numpty Ned and GT Scott finishing up ahead of everybody and scoring a whooping 1,875 points as a team to take the team's championship, and they'll be the constructors champion as well, the best team of them all. And then second short and runner-up would be the Apex Originals, with one Pervert and RLD finishing in P2, also scoring over 1,700 points, with 1,711 points for them, while the leader scored 1,875. And then third place, Moza Racing, who scored 1,556 as well. A decent result for them as a team, with Chemistry Racing we're in P4. It was 1,423 for them, while Team Papaya in P5 was Nitu, nearly running us on his own throughout the whole season, scored 1,006 points, with Racing Horns on 979 points to their name, with Team Payne getting 812 points. And now looking at the whooping driver standings right here, it is the final race of the season, and it was the final time we saw these cars go around in this season. It is GT who finishes at the top and ahead of everybody to win the Drivers' Championship to his name by over 109 points to his lead, and gets the victory, with RLD, who scored 54 points in this round, finishes second, and to runner-up to GT, 926 points, while 840 points to Numpty Ned, who actually does a very good job in P3 as well in the championship, with Ryan Cooper, as earlier, once won the championship fight, is still going to score over 800 points and finish in P4 with 813. Then one Pervert with 785 points in fifth place, with Nitu in sixth with 772. He's just going to finish 1 point, just 1 point ahead of Carl, who is on at 771. He then right next to him is Lisandro da Silva, who wins this time out and score maximum 100 points right here, and through 743 points to their name in P8. Then comes Page in P9, 678, with the Smoke Dog with 652 in 10th place. Then it is Wolf, Dylan, Monte Carlos, Mickey, and Kevin, all these drivers at the very end, followed by 588 for Wolf, 509 for Dylan, and 391 for Carlos, with Mickey 327. Then in the end it was Kane, only featuring in 2 races, still scored over 134 points this season. That's going to be the end of it then, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all watching had all the fun and enjoyed what we had in front of our screens. It was endurance. It was an endurance race, so maybe not a lot of overtakes, but still what we saw these drivers can do. And massive congratulations to our race winner for the night, Lisandro da Silva, taking a victory at Le Mans. He's going to remember that for a while. And our Drivers' Championship champion, who took victory ahead of everybody and really announced himself as a champion now, with Ryan Cooper finishing in P3, Chapman in P4, and Numpty Ned. Congratulations to him as GT and Numpty won the championship for their team. Nitu in P6 in this race. Well, Pervert in P7, Page in P8, Mickey in P9, Jones in P10, and RLD in P11, followed by the final driver, Wolf, So this is pretty much going to be in it then, ladies and gentlemen. It's a goodbye from everybody. Before we move over, goodbye from myself. Before